What if I told you there was one simple way of keeping your orchids looking like this all the time? You buy your orchids when they're beautifully in bloom, and then slowly they tend to start looking a little bit bad and shabby. Perhaps the next flowering isn't so good, or perhaps it doesn't flower at all. And then not long after, you land up with something like this, and your plant turns up its tail and it dies. Today we'll discover the cause and the cure of this lackluster performance of our orchids. It's almost as if it's planned obsolescence, something that we blame those manufacturers of our cell phones for. In this video, we'll explain to you why, even if you think you're doing everything right, you're feeding and watering properly, why your orchid is still going backwards. We'll explain to you the symptoms, what's causing it, and the one fix that you can do to ensure you have healthy orchids again. Here at the Nature Company, we try and demystify the science behind orchid care so you're not left frustrated and confused. Let's have a look at these 6 sad, sorry for themselves orchids that are slowly going backwards and probably won't last all that much longer if we don't look after them now. Yeah, this is Iria hyacinthoides, and we have one miserable little flower here. But otherwise, we've got a nice big plant, but we can see it's so full of anthracnose and cercospora. It's fungus-ridden. It's so compact here. All these pseudobulbs are pushing in onto each other. It's overgrown, and there's no space left at the top of the pot. We have some of these bulbs that have gone squishy and are dying here at the sides. So this poor plant really isn't doing that well at all. And with this dendrobium, we see originally it was a nice big plant with these nice long, big, strong pseudobulbs or canes that it had. And slowly but surely, the growths have got smaller and smaller and smaller until they're now these tiny little shoots at the base of the plant, and the roots look like they're all dried out, and it's just really not looking happy. The pseudobulbs are a bit wrinkled too. One little new growth coming, so also it's not really happy. If this is left too much longer, this will just eventually die out. It will run out of energy, and there won't be any more energy to produce those new pseudobulbs, and that will be the last of it. So with these 2 plants, how can just one fix save both of them? This one's got all these multiple different problems happening with it, so how can that all be due to a single cause? It's got a couple of different types of fungus, and the flowers just not really happy. And also we can see some of the roots have dried out too on the outside. So what is making this plant not happy the same as this plant? This plant, it's starting to become obvious what the problem is. It's in need of a serious repot. The media is all broken down, all the media has fallen out of the basket, and it's not holding any moisture any longer. So it's obviously just drying up, causing these pseudobulbs to die off. With this guy as well, it needs a serious repot quickly. It's overgrown the pot, so there's no air movement happening into this pot at all. And without the air movement, we know that's going to cause problems. Those anaerobic bacteria and fungi are generally the pathogenic ones, and they're going to thrive in conditions like this, where, for one, we're not getting enough air movement through the plant itself, but we're not getting any air movement into the media. This is going to help rot the media incredibly quickly, and what happens as the media rots, not only are we losing the air movement because those gaps slowly fill up with the media as it turns into dust and powder and sand, so we stop getting the air movement in, it also starts to hold moisture. And now with that excess moisture that it's holding, we all know that's going to be a problem for the roots, because those roots will just start to rot, not being able to breathe and having moisture at them all the time. And then again, without that air movement and that moisture, those anaerobic pathogenic fungi and bacteria are going to proliferate. So that's going to rot your whole plant quite quickly, as we can see with those pseudobulbs out the side here that are now gone all black and squishy. And now that our plant is not as happy as it should be because its roots are busy being rotted, it's not getting aeration to the roots, so they're not able to draw up moisture to the plant. So the plant is now becoming weak. And what happens when our plants are weak? It's easier for other fungi and bacteria and even insects to now start attacking it. So it's got less ability to fight off any of these diseases. And your plant will start looking like this with every imaginable fungus and bacterial problem that you can imagine. And this will then just slowly, or not even slowly, this will quickly rot your plant and kill the whole thing off. And not only have we compounded it with that rotting of the media, like we were saying, but in those conditions, what's going to happen is, even if there are any live roots inside that media, as the media starts to rot, it becomes more acidic. So this makes less of those nutrients available for your plant. So now your plant starts getting nutrient deficiencies as well. And this is just going to be one big cauldron of a pot that you may as well just throw your plant into if you don't fix it quickly. And now if we move to our little dendrobium here, whose media is still busy falling out on me on the table, what we can see with this is that all of the roots, just about all of them, are now exposed completely to the air and the elements and whoopsie. And now this media is not able to hold any moisture at all. So we're basically just drying out our plant, especially in a hanging basket like this. It's got air movement all around it all the time. So we really need a media around the roots to keep some moisture so that the plant can still stay hydrated. When your plant and your media is left like this to dry out so far, often the media itself becomes hydrophobic, meaning if you're pouring water onto this, it often just runs straight off without actually being absorbed into the media at all. So that starts compounding the problem of the dryness. So again, the only way really to fix this is ensure that you repot. And with repotting, remember you have to take into account the type of orchid that you have so you can ensure that you're giving the correct media for the type of orchid. Something like your urea is going to be needing so much more moisture than what your dendrobium is going to need. So we're going to have to repot it into a pot where we know the moisture is going to hold for longer. Here we have a solid pot without any air holes in. We know this is going to hold moisture for longer than one with those big air gaps through it that will dry out more quickly. Also, we can use smaller media and add extra items like coir or sphagnum moss to ensure that we have the moisture needed for it. With the dendrobium, we know it likes good drainage and it likes to have moisture, especially during that growing season. So it doesn't want to be dry during that growing season because they are quite vigorous growers. Then as it comes to winter, they need to dry out. So we want to have a media that is going to allow for fast drainage, not holding too much moisture, but that's going to be watered frequently. We'll be doing videos on the repotting of both of these so you can understand better on how we go about repotting the different orchids. It is also the roots of your orchid. Oops. It is also the roots of your orchid. As they tend to dry out further and further, so they need more water to be available for them for longer periods so that they can then absorb it. If your roots have been dry for a long time, you'll often find just spritzing them isn't going to make them go that green color that you know that they do have moisture available in them again. You'll often need to soak them for a while before you start seeing them actually get that green color. If your roots have just gone silver after being green and you spritz them again, you'll notice they'll go green almost immediately. So it just takes a lot longer than for this guy to be rehydrated after dehydrating. And that is another reason why we need to repot him quickly. The other things you also have to take into account with your old media in your pots is how it's going to affect things like your temperature, the humidity, and also your watering. I've already said to you how much water the media does land up holding as it starts to break down. So that means if you're keeping up your normal watering routine, you're just going to build up more and more moisture and water in your pot. And what's going to happen is as that starts to evaporate out, it's going to keep evaporating out for longer periods than what it would if it was a fresh media and most of the water was just draining away. And that excess humidity is again going to help breed those fungal attacks for your plant and cause stagnant air in and around your plant if your plant is grown this full. What all this constant evaporation is going to do, because there's so much moisture in your pot, is it's going to cause a cooling effect on your plant. So if you are already in a cooler area, this constant moisture being drawn out of the pot, causing that excess cooling on your plant, is then going to also be very problematic for it. And again, cool and damp is even more fungal problems. So we can see how this all starts building up on each other. On something like this, with that media decomposing and just falling away, what's going to happen is you're going to be getting air movement directly into your roots and to the rhizome of the plant. So there's no sort of mediation of temperature by the media. So if your temperatures are too hot, you're going to start causing problems with your plant, that it's going to start absorbing that moisture out of the plant directly. And if it's too cold, you're going to cause cold stress on your plant, because the media itself generally acts as a mediator in your temperatures, which helps keep your plant healthy. And now you know why your orchids are going backwards after you bought this beauty with lots of beautiful flowers on it, left it for a year or 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, and you just never see any flowers and your plant slowly goes back and dies. Sometimes it can be quite quick, depending on that media that is in the pot. So now you understand why repotting is one of the single most important things you can do to keep your orchid healthy and blooming. And this especially goes for a lot of those grocery shop bought Phalaenopsis. Check in the description box down below. Ed has posted up a lot of content on Phalaenopsis and what to do with them once you've bought them. Check out that Buy Me a Coffee link and it will all be explained beautifully there for you in those amazing articles that he's put up. And thank you for watching. If you have found any of this information helpful, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and that notification bell, bing bong, to be notified of all our upcoming content so you don't miss out on a thing. Help us grow as we help your orchids grow.